Ready. Rolling.
Cool on the inside. Hey, what's up, guys? We're here with 2Techies with one of my favorite tech people in the community, Gregory Johnson. AKA when you see me post Youngblood in most of my posts, that's who I'm talking to. Youngblood Gregory Johnson. So, Greg, when did you fall in love with tech?
I fell in love with tech probably like in 7th or 8th grade in middle school. So in my school was a little private school in Carroll City.
Okay.
We had a computer lab and we always practiced typing.
Okay.
For me at the time, I was really interested in, me and my cousin actually were really interested into Japanese animation. So at the time, like to get into that, we had to build our own like forums and websites and bring in users. So for me, I got interested in tech because we had to like, even though it had its own template, we used something called Pro Boards, we had to like learn CSS.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's how, for me, I got into like Photoshop because we had to compete with other sites. So that's how I started falling in love with tech.
So just to be able to talk about the stuff y'all like, y'all had to learn how to use CSS just to be able to do that?
Not only to talk about it, it's like to get users because we were like promoting and getting people on board. So to do that, we had to look the part, right? So the website couldn't look like raggedy.
That's true, because I wouldn't want to come on it if it looked that way.
Yeah.
So what exactly do you do in tech and innovation? I know a lot of people seen you around. To me, you were one of the poster childs. You were a face of technology for a while, but what exactly are you doing in tech and innovation now?
Right now, so I study finance, and basically what I work on is product management. So basically, how do you build a product and how do you manage the life cycle of that product? So a lot of using what I've actually learned growing up, design, of figuring out, okay, what's the first step of the product, and we're going to be a year from now. Also taking from my finance background, what's profit and loss, and going through the analysis of that for the product. So
And I don't normally ask people this, but how old are you, man?
me, I'm 22.
22 years old.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, so I can ask you this question. Craft beer, craft cocktail?
Yeah, it's hard. I don't really drink like that, but
Okay.
I guess cocktail.
What would you drink?
Cocktail versus, I don't drink.
What kind of drinks would you have, though? If we were drinking a cocktail, I know you're young, but you had to drink something. Are we drinking vodka and cranberry juice? What do you normally drink? What's the go-to drink when you got to appear to be older than you are? What's the go-to drink? Even though you look like you're like 14 years old. So 14 and just growing a beard.
I think it's just the old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned?
Or I'm Jamaican, so rum and Coke is usually
Safe. That's real safe. I got you. Appleton rum and Coca-Cola?
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
All right. If your business life, what you've gone through in business and everything you've endured, if it was based on a movie or a TV show, and we were plugging into you right now, what would we be watching? What show would we see if we were talking about your business life?
My business life?
It's your business life, not your personal life. Totally business. If it was a movie or a TV show.
It's tough. I'd say like Mr. Robot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Makes sense. Now, are you doing anything in cybersecurity, or just the lifestyle you feel that you're enduring makes it feel more that way?
Just the lifestyle. For us, I do software quality assurance. So
Okay.
I'm looking at like how good a product is, because I'm in the health space. Security is like a big thing with HIPAA. And,
So you try to break things? Is that your goal?
yeah, that's my goal. Try to break things and then figure out ways to make the product better.
Being down here in South Florida, being in Miami, what do you feel are like some of your biggest challenges that you're currently dealing with?
For me, I've been fortunate. I've been in the game for just like you've seen me around, like networking and stuff.
I mean, you were born like 4 years ago, so.
Yeah, you see me here. So for my challenges haven't really been like business-wise. I've worked with a lot of great people. It's just more like seeing the community and
Right,
realizing.
because you're like kind of the conductor. You've worked with 3 businesses, and out of those 3 businesses, all of them have had an exit, correct?
2 of them had exits.
Oh, okay. So everybody like, let's hire Greg so we can get that exit to pop up.
Yeah.
That's dope. All right. On the technical side, what do you think have been some of your milestones or journeys, just what you're doing, even the Q&A stuff? What are some of the milestones that you feel you've accomplished over the last year?
For me, just being able to work with the IT team. A lot of people think like, okay, he's been in the game long, so they just kind of gave him a chance. No, like had to be in that room and they're like, Gregory, for this project, you're not ready yet. We can put you on this side. So it's like, for me, having to take that time and outside of classes and everything else I do, sit down and learn.
Earning
find
your
mentors,
stripes.
yeah, earn my stripes.
That's dope.
Yeah.
At least people know that. It's good to hear that, you know, you're not getting ushered through just because you're young and just because you're trying. You're actually earning your way into progress. So that means you're learning along the way.
Yeah, and I wanted to be like that. Like, I didn't just want to be the intern. I'm like, put me on the projects that will like help me get my stripes. Because for me, it was all about proving myself, right? Come from the bottom, so you don't want it to look like it's a handout.
Right. So if I had to get your genuine response, it's 2 words. I just want to know your initial feedback. Whatever you feel, just say it. This is just for us.
Okay.
Not too many people are watching, you know what I'm saying? Diversity inclusion.
I think it's something we can work on. Diversity and inclusion. I think by default, like, Miami is a very diverse place.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we're including like everybody in the conversation of this is how you get into technology. And a lot of programs are like starting to bring out scholarships, but Miami, from my understanding, and since I've grown up here, it's always been kind of like a silo city, right? Miami Gardens does its own thing,
right.
Does its own thing. And it's the same way in the tech ecosystem, actually. It's like if you're favored by whoever's giving out money to this, then you're in that circle. If you're in a private sector, you're in a certain circle. So I think we need to work on that.
So you feel we have the diversity, we just don't have the inclusiveness right now?
Yeah.
I got you. So if you had all the money, all the resources you needed to actually fix diversity and inclusion, so you got the night funding, you got the big dollars, you got all the support you need. The only catch is you have to give your pitch of how you would fix it in 4 sentences or less. What's your pitch?
That's a tough one. First off, I wouldn't go for night funding.
No, I'm not saying you would go for night funding.
Okay.
I'm saying you got a couple of billion sitting around.
Oh, billions sitting
Yeah.
around.
You have all the money. You have unlimited resources to fix the problem.
That's tough. I would say that I look at like history and see like how other people address that issue. I'd look at Dana Dorsey, who was to be known as one of the first black millionaires of the South, and he's actually here. He worked here in Overtown, and what he did was he started off working for Flagler's railroad construction company. He became a banker, and what he did was started buying property here in like the Miami area. And I think
Dorsey River Bend is a good example of things of that nature. Yeah,
and he created his own bank for blacks. So I think like taking that and like applying it to today, which is figuring out ways to invest in the ecosystem, whether it be housing. Housing is big for getting people down here, right?
Okay.
Then there's the education issue of how do you start training people to be a part of that town. I think.
So you're saying that if somebody says you have all the resources, your response would be, I'm going to research history to figure out how they overcame the issues in their past?
I would say that my first thing would be starting a company around researching and developing better ways of addressing that issue.
Okay, that's
kind of like Y Combinator, right? You have a lot of money.
That's a good example.
And what are they doing? They're doing little experiments.
So you're looking at a way to actually apply the methods to actually come up with the solution.
Right.
That's a humble answer. Okay. So the world is yours. You get to choose one mentor that would invest all their time and money to you. You have total access to them. They're always picking up the phone. Nothing's a problem. Who's that mentor?
I don't know, man. I already have all my mentors. Like, I can't even say, like, I already have all my mentors of people to call.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now you feel there's nobody else in this world that you would want to call and talk to?
No, for what I'm doing, I'm like in a good place.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Humbling. Look at this man. All right. So there's always a soundtrack to your life. If your life was a song or even an album, what would we be listening to right now?
Life of Pablo.
Kanye.
Yeah.
Now, you give all these humble answers, and then your soundtrack is Kanye West.
Yeah, definitely.
Why?
Because, me and you, I consider both like we're creative individuals.
Right.
But for Kanye, I really like his story. Not the arrogant side of things, but where he came up. It's like he had to earn his stripes. He started off being a developer. And when I think of Life of Pablo, for me, it's just like taking that creativity and being a place where you're free to do whatever you want.
Is it arrogance or is it frustration coming out in artistic form?
I don't know. That's like a Rose question. I think it's a little bit of both.
Right. I mean, I can understand the arrogance, but I can also understand when people are constantly beating you down, telling you how good you're not going to be.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're not being arrogant as much as you are probably just reassuring yourself because you don't have the right people around you. And sometimes the people around you are just there to drain things out of you, not to actually give back. Right. So when you get into this position where your circle is just a take, and you're not learning or being creative anymore, you almost have to boost yourself up. I'm not saying that Kanye isn't arrogant, but I think sometimes people have to understand, especially even like in the tech community. The tech community to me is a lot like the music industry.
Right.
Most people don't believe in you when you have that demo.
Yeah.
And you can take that however you want to. You can take that as the demo on a cassette tape, or you can take that as a demo as an MVP.
Right.
Most people don't believe in you when you have that demo, and they don't believe until you to 1 million tracks or so, or 250,000 downloads. Again, take that however you want to, whether it's streaming or whether it's actually downloads of your app or whether it's client acquisition. So I'm wondering is that what he's actually going through? You know what I'm saying? Right. Is it actually arrogance or is it frustration for disbelief?
Right.
So I think he gets his praises sometimes, but I think sometimes he's kind of just down. Like, we miss the old Kanye. You hear that more than look at the progression of his music. Look how his tracks have so many different layers on it. So it's almost like they marginalize his talent instead of looking at his talent.
And the reason I use Life of Pablo, which is a Kanye album, is because I'm in the tech space, but nobody in my family or nobody in my friend circle kind of understands that.
So you're like on the outside.
Yeah, they're looking on the outside. So if I'm posting on social media or talking about what I'm doing, it kind of looks like Kanye, like, oh, he's arrogant. But it's like, being in that position, it can get frustrating.
So you're probably the youngest person we've had on the show.
Yeah. Wow.
What do you think? Actually, I know you are. You're the youngest person we've had on this show so far. What do you think is missing in the community, or what do you think is the message to get out to young people to understand the importance of being involved in tech and innovation?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head like years ago when you gave a conversation. You're talking about the Jordans, and it's about being, smart. But I think it's just about having people that are related, like you can relate to, like in the music industry. You could see like in the videos, or you see these artists, they have the money, they have the houses.
Right.
I think in tech, we don't have enough people that are kind of showing out, not just like with the material stuff, but just saying, hey, I've made a better life for myself.
Just the educational value in general.
Yeah.
And I remember the part of the conversation you're talking about is when I did my speaking engagement, and I was asking the kids to stand up. If you have $100 shoes, $125 shoes, and I normally stop at around $150, and there's normally 10 to 15 kids standing up. And I'm like, the money you spent on shoes or the money I spent to start a new corporation to try a new idea. Yeah. And I agree with you, but do you think, in your opinion, is it more important for them to see someone your age climbing the ladder, or is it more important for them to see someone my age, older than them, still trying to climb the ladder, or do they have to see someone absolutely successful that they almost want to mimic that life?
I think for me, it's about, I'm kind of like biased. I think it's somebody their age. And the reason I say that is because I go back to my communities and I see the reactions of like young people saying, hey, I want to code. I remember I was at a graduation the other day, and like, sometimes I go back to my old high school, volunteer, give time, talk about what I'm going through. And, like more people wanted to be developers. And I remember going to that exact meeting and people were like, I want to study computer science because see what you're doing. So I think it's like just more people that they can relate to. Because that changes the mindset too, right? If you go to the Valley and go any other place, you see young people like me talking about, okay, I've just tested this idea. If you go to like those Ivy League schools, they're all experimenting with different ideas. Where we are, we have a lot of talented individuals, but they're just doing different things, playing basketball, working on their mixtape. It's like, how can you take that creative energy? Because it's here, the talent's here.
So someone in their 20s listening to someone in their 30s, I mean, like you said, you listen to mentors, you talk to me. I know we have our talks when I'm in the cafe and stuff.
Yeah.
You're saying that somewhat helps, but it would be even more powerful to have someone closer to your age because it makes it more relatable. Does it make it more believable? Is that what you feel?
Yeah, it makes it more believable. Like if you came down...
If I'm 11 years older than you, you're like, I still got 11, 15 years to go, and they worried about right now. But if you're 2 or 3 years apart, it's like, okay, I can get there if I really bust my ass and get it together.
Yeah, and then you could say things like, okay, you need to go find yourself a mentor like Michael. And then they'll be like, oh, snap, you got a mentor that taught you, it's more of a connected thing there.
We were having that conversation and we were talking about it because, you have this age group, I would say 18 to 28 is what I was focused on, or 22 to 32. To me, they're just lost. They don't have any guidance. But I think it would be so much more important. But it's like, you can't really build, like you can't build this facility. You can't build Venture Cafe and CIC to truly be kid friendly because you got to make money. You got to make revenue. It's a different focus.
Right.
But it would take someone like you that's comfortable in this situation to go recruit others of your age group. And I'm not even talking about race or socioeconomics. I'm talking about just age at this point. It would take someone like you to actually go recruit them and bring them in.
Yeah.
That makes sense, man. That's dope. Okay, so we're all in the game. You're young, so you got at least 50 more years left to play this game. something happens, you retire or something goes quickly, whatever, what would you want to be your defining legacy? What would you want to be the legacy that defines Gregory Johnson?
Legacy that defines Gregory Johnson. I think, that's a very deep question. I think for me, somebody that's come in the community and has, left his mark. And for me, leaving my mark isn't like owning a bunch of stuff. It's being that guy that they can say, Gregory came here and, he took care of his family, or he took himself from the bottom and left at a better place. I think that's important. And leaving a legacy of not a bunch of stuff, but just like making the right decisions. I want it to be relatable. I don't want it to be like, I can't do that.
I can't do this to a lot of people, but I can do it to you, and it's gonna make a lot of sense. What does the 22-year-old Gregory tell the 32-year-old Gregory? It's on camera right now, so you can come back and look at this video 10 years from now. What's the message you want to tell yourself 10 years from now?
The message I'm gonna tell myself 10 years from now is, it's gonna happen. Just be patient. It may not look like it's happening, but it's gonna happen. And just stay grounded and remember, your values and beliefs.
I want you to come back to this video, because I don't even think it's gonna take you 10 years. But I want you to come back to this video 10 years from now and realize the great person you are. I have a lot of faith in you. I have a lot of trust in you. And I'm relying on you to carry this torch. From Brian, myself, Felicia, I'm relying on you to carry this torch, man. You got a lot of power. 22 years old, I met you when you were 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Riding the bus and everything to make it to downtown Miami. I remember what you were doing, so much respect. So I'll put you in the hot seat. I always do this normally, even with our personal conversations. You normally throw one question back at me and you ask me one question. So before we close out, you got a chance to ask me one question on camera that I got to answer with all honesty, total transparency.
Cool. So I always put you in the Kanye West. I call you Kanye West of Miami. So what's your biggest frustration, and what do you think is gonna you're doing right now with the whole digital grass team on solving diversity, especially inclusion here in Miami?
My biggest frustration is just not enough collaboration. I just don't think we work together enough. And I mean, that can be from east of 95 to west of 95. That can be from neighborhoods. That can be from reaching out to Broward County. Just getting past the laziness of being seen as just a tourism town, and everything can wait for another day. Some things, I think we just have a lot of meetings down here instead of a lot of action plans. But I guess if it was what I expect or what do I want out of what DigiGrass is doing, I would love to be seen as the person that was the disruptor, I make my money in different areas outside of technology that most people aren't even aware of. So I think sometimes somebody has to speak up and say the things that make other people uncomfortable. And if I have to sacrifice some things of me to do better for the community, so be it. I'll speak up and say the things that other people are. Because the text messages I get, man, the private messages, the conversations that I had offline are much deeper than what most people think. And the frustration that people feel down here, it's a lot more kind of guided, A lot of the stuff that people say is coddled compared to what I get to hear behind the scenes. So sometimes I take that bottled up frustration from them, and I'm the one that says it. So that's why people are like, it's kind of like you said, it's kind of like Kanye. You just seem angry. You seem like you're not appreciative of anything you got. It's not about me. What I got, I'm good. I love my life. It's about the other people that want to go somewhere else and they don't know how to say it, but they're the one, they come to me to vent.
Right.
So it's the things that I hear that I'm taking, and I'm like, I got to let this out somewhere, so I speak up for them. Right. So I would hope people would say, that was the group that spoke up to say things that other people were scared to say.
Got you. So it's not about it's not a you thing. It's more of other people coming to you and you're just.
I'm trying to speak for a community, man. I take all angles. People, why I can't get this? Why nobody offering us this? Why we can't get this person now? Why are we not getting this kind of exposure? All right, let me take the 20 things that came in my inbox, Instagram. I mean, I get page-long messages on Instagram, man. Like, why can't we do this? Why they not supporting you more? Why you not getting? Bro, I'm getting everything I can. But how can I help you get it? It's not always about me. I think we've done what we did, and we went the route of getting grants, and we went the route of offering public service and doing, it's like, let us give this to you. So if we can help one company, if you can come back and say, I went a little bit further, like Khadijah, I remember when she called me and she didn't know nobody in the community, and it was like, hey, this is who you need to know. And I always open up the book, man. Like, you want to know people, and I try to strategically place people. I wouldn't send 20 people to you. But if I found 2 or 3 good people that I feel would be worth your time, you're gonna have to be a mentor. Not when you're 30, not later, right now. And sometimes you're mentoring somebody that's older than you. Sometimes, I mean, one of my best mentors is younger than me. But I want to be the disruptor, somebody that spoke up.
Cool. And Khadijah's like, she's with a tech company now, right?
Killing it.
Killing it.
Killing
So,
it. Yeah. All right,
So-
man. So how can people find you on social media? Just so they can reach out to you and talk to you.
You can find me on my website, gregoryjohnson.com. That's
Boy, got a website. You heard him. Got a website.
And everything is there, man. You can find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.miami. Just type that in your browser. You can find me there. Connect with me. I'm accessible.
All right, man. So you know how it is at church. We normally, people will say, hey, give us your last word. And the last word will turn into a whole other sermon. So instead of us doing that, when we say last word, we mean that. One word, not a statement, not a phrase. Just give us one word to close us out for this interview, man.
Blessed.
All right. Been another version of 2Techies. We really appreciate you guys. The young man, young blood, Gregory Johnson. All right, we're out.